Hello, I'm Renata, and I am beginning to see if I can get in the rhythm of having a Sunday self-love, soulful video journal vlog. And yeah, because I'm just feeling like in a writer's block, uh, space mentally and emotionally as it relates to my work and how even I apply my own work in my personal life. And so I want to just start talking about what I'm navigating through because every time that I try to put myself on the internet in a way that comes across as an expert or even as a teacher, um, I notice that it feels like I step into a role or I put on a mask or I put on a costume of some sort. And it's like I put myself up, and I like to so I'm coming at you intentionally messy today, right? Like I am intentionally as I am on a Sunday, very lazy, very just hair in a bun. I haven't showered. I don't have any makeup on. Like, this is just me. And when I think about doing videos, like, even before I get there, I'm like, all right, we gotta go. We gotta make the hair good and we gotta put some makeup on so you don't look totally unkempt and like a crazy person. And like, even from something as simple as taking a shower, it just becomes it just has this air of performance to it. And I just don't like that because if you meet me in person and we're having a conversation in person, I'm just me. And a lot of times, yeah, I look like this because I'm not a huge makeup person. I don't spend an hour applying my makeup. I don't, whatever. Anyways, I'm tangenting. Welcome to my channel. So I'm just starting this because, first of all, for me, it's an act of self-love. This is an act of self-love in many ways. One, because as I'm doing this is my video journal. I'm giving myself the space to process what I'm moving through. And yes, I'm feeling emotional today. Okay, I brought the tissues. I might cry. If that makes you uncomfortable, I'm sorry, skip through it. Um, so it's a little bit of like, okay, let me process and speak out loud what I am moving through right now. So it's loving myself in that way where I'm giving myself time to kind of come inward and just sort and organize and understand and process and settle where I'm at in this moment. Become present with myself. Allow what's here to be here. The second layer is that in sharing myself publicly, in sharing my journey publicly, in my desires that I have professionally, in terms of, yes, in many senses, wanting to be a teacher or a guide for people on their mental health journey, on their spiritual awakening journey, on their self-realization journey, on their manifestation journey, on their journey of life. Okay. And so, in order to share what I've come to understand and come to embody, I really need to be public. And I can't do that, at least in the beginning, from a place of performance. For me, it has to be built from the ground up. It has to be built on the foundational layer of every aspect of who I am. Complete transparency, complete vulnerability, complete honesty, complete, it just has to be clean for me. And so I have to start where I am, and this is where I am. And I think that loving myself through where I am and in all of the uncomfortableness of it and in all of the rawness of it, like look at my lighting, and I'm sure my audio is not great. And it's not a perfectly performed production. I'm tangenting again, but in it's important for me to just start here. And in my work with my clients, so much of the feedback that I hear from people is that one of the reasons that they find working with me so helpful for them, where traditional methods of therapy or traditional methods of coaching haven't been helpful, is because I share my own experience. And I don't shelter that. I give real time, real life example that I have lived through. And so that's what I want this space to be, and why it's necessary in my perspective for there to be a portion of this channel that is the full picture of the internal experience that I'm having as I'm walking this journey, because I think that that's really the biggest piece that matters, and that becomes the teaching and becomes the work itself. I move through it, I process it, I understand it, and then I share it. That's how I work. And so that's my intuitive channel. That is my projectorness. Like that is my Piscesness. Like it's the way that I function, really. So in having this as part of my channel, I think it is helping me to feel like I'm having a space and I'm holding space for me to be who I am in all of the flavors and in all of the aspects and in all of the internal struggles and rawness and all of that, because it's the full picture that way. So today, yeah, oh my gosh, I'm so emotional. Today is May 31st. It's almost June. Next month will be the summer solstice. And I feel like, hold on, let me catch my breath. So, part of the emotion that's coming up for me right now is an internal pressure, an expectation that I have set for myself. And that also is based in like external financial pressure. And for me, in that expectation setting of myself and time pressure that I'm putting on myself, stepping into the month of June feels, wow, how did we get here? How is it June 2026 already? Like we're halfway through the year. Honestly, I feel like it's been 6 weeks. Like it feels like it has just flown by, and I have not at all made the progress in my business, in my professional practice that I really like yearn for and really want to be building momentum in. And there's so many layers to why that hasn't happened, but one of them is this expectation that I'm putting on myself. And in setting that expectation for myself, I effectively put myself in a mental and emotional pressure cooker. And then every day, every moment, every week, and every month that goes by that I haven't achieved the expectation, I feel like I'm suffering. I feel like emotional, like I do right now. Like I feel a little bit of like how it feels to be depressed. I feel a little bit like where I'm trying to go is very far away from me. And the funny thing is that two unhelpful things are going on as I do that. One, maybe more. One is that as I feel down about myself because I haven't met the expectation, first of all, in the present moment, I feel down. I'm not enjoying my time. I'm in a negative thought spiral. The second thing is that in that negative thought spiral and in the feeling like what I'm working towards or moving towards is so far away and so unattainable, like I'm making a mountain out of a molehill, what's also happening is that I'm keeping it away from me. I'm keeping what it is that I am moving for away. I am on the hamster wheel, like the negative, uneasy hamster wheel, and I'm not making any progress, so to speak, or actual movement. Like I'm running, I'm going, I'm spinning my wheel, but the wheel is entirely stationary. I'm not making any movement toward that. And this is this is to me why mental health and manifestation are two entirely different. Hold on. They're two different things, but they're really not though. Because as I just named, I'm having an experience, but there's multiple things that are going on that are true. One, not only is my mental health suffering, but my ability to manifest is also suffering because my mental health is suffering. And because mental health is suffering, my manifestation is suffering. And in all of that, my spiritual health suffers a little bit because I'm trying at a human level to do something in my expectation and in the pressure setting and in that internal hamster wheel that I'm not even thinking to remember to connect to source and to surrender all of it to source and to God. I'm too busy saying, no, let me go, 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 let me go. And that's like this pattern that I do that I'm noticing and naming. And that's why I'm given these soulful Sunday self-love sessions. Soulful Sunday self-love sessions. ago, because I think it's helpful for me to process what I'm moving through in real time and then create practices and awareness and finding love and patience and kindness and grace within it to be able to release resistance, to release stress, to release untruth, to release fear, to release tension, to find stillness. And to make space for truth, for love, for God, source, spirit, universe to come through. And I think really that's been one of my biggest challenges of my life, is not trusting God, or losing trust in God from a very young age. I think that anyone that's been through childhood trauma, and really we all have, we all have, like, trauma is a spectrum. Um, but I think that the earlier you kind of lose trust in life and in God, and in the goodness that there is in the world, um, it, you put up me, you, I don't know, people, but certainly me, put up walls and guards and, fences, and um yeah, like maybe barricades around the heart, and you learn how to survive, and you learn how to be on this planet and constantly bracing and protecting against something, against some evil, against conflict, against death, really, against pain. So learning how to trust and drop those barricades and those walls, and trust life, and trust people, and trust God, and trust the planet and Mother Nature, and even trust humanity, is, it's a lifelong journey. And for me, it's been such a challenge. And at the same time, it's been incredibly beautiful. And for me, in the last 6 months, really, probably closer to 7 now, the amount of literally unbelievable magic and miracles and synchronicity that have happened for me in my life have been so wildly beautiful, so incredible, so awesome, awe-inspiring, like what is happening? Like, how is this? Being open and willing to drop my armor, being open and willing to say, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know how to do it right. I don't know how to do it good. I don't know what really is going on here. I don't know what is good and what is bad. I don't know that there really is good or evil. I don't know anything. I surrender to thinking that I know what's best for my life. I surrender to the idea that experiencing something that feels uncomfortable has to be a bad thing or is a bad thing. I surrender the idea that I know what is good for me and what is bad for me. Because if I let go of that and stop trying to do everything myself, what I have come to find is that God, source, universe brings it perfectly to me. And that is the manifestation trick. Right? But it's not something that can be, it's not a trick really, because it's not something that can be cheated. It's not something that you can fake your way into. It's a genuine openness, willingness, vulnerability, rawness to say, okay, I'm willing to see a different perspective. I'm willing to look at the positives in this. I'm willing to see where this is actually really beautiful, even if it's difficult or even if it's challenging, or even if it looks ugly from some lenses. And I think that I'm very stubborn in my own mind around this one because it feels like I'm holding two perspectives at one time. And one perspective is ugly, and one perspective is beautiful and magical. And I find myself like oscillating or maybe ping ponging back and forth in between them. And I'm really endeavoring to transcend that polarity, to bring the darkness and the light, or the ugliness and the beauty, or the evil and the good, to the yin and the yang, into union and harmony with one another in my own consciousness, in my own relationship to all aspects of who I am. It feels, I think, important to just kind of like name, because why not? So I'm a professionally, I don't even know how to name myself, I'll be completely honest, but it's some mixed bag of I'm an intuitive channel, I'm a mental health coach, manifestation coach, lifestyle design coach, consciousness coach, what psycho spiritual coach. I don't really care what name you call it. I am a guide of consciousness. I'm a guide on this journey to help people find cohesion in themselves, to awaken their heart, to deepen into self love, to live it, to embody their soul, to embody their higher self, to evolve, and to stay in harmony and alignment with the planetary ascension that's happening and the greater human ascension that's happening. We're in a transition time. And so I guide people on that path. And it has been incredibly difficult for me to speak about and promote what it is that I do, because it seems very difficult to put a name on what I do. And I also don't want to put a name on it that puts a box around it either, because I work in multiple dimensions of being. I work at the mental body and the physical body and the spiritual body and the cosmic body. Like, there's just so many layers to it that to just say I'm an intuitive channel doesn't quite cover it, because I'm also going to coach you through how are we applying this in the mental body? How are we applying this in the physical? We need to bridge and bring all of those together. And so the other piece that I named as part of why, again, I'm doing this, I'm trying out this, what did I call it? Soulful Sunday self-love session. I don't remember. But like, part of why I'm giving this a go is because the other thing is that when I go to speak about what it is that I do, I get all sorts of kerfuffled in my brain. It's like my ability to express myself gets so tangled up in the noise of my mind that I just don't. Like, I just become, oh, the molehill gets worked up to a mountain in my mind, and then I basically avoid and procrastinate. And the pain that comes from not being able to spend my time in, like, my life doing what feels like my life's purpose, which is working and assisting people, it feels so great that, like, I kind of, like, I'm kind of getting to this point where it's like I don't care anymore. Like, I can't keep putting a block, putting up a wall. Ooh. Excuse me. Hold on. I'm going to pause this to blow my nose. So I can't keep getting in my own way effectively, as it relates to showing up in the world and saying, hello, I'm Renata. This is what I'm offering. This is what my gifts are. And so I have to start where I am, and I have to start with what I know how to do. And what I know how to do is share what I'm moving through and my intellectual and spiritual understanding of what it is so that I can name it. And in doing so, hopefully help you recognize where your own patterns, which might, I'm sure, some of you might be similar to mine, or some of you might be very different, but either way, we all have these patterns. And it's really important that we don't make ourselves wrong for them. And I'm really, really good at making myself wrong. I'm really good at beating myself up. I have an inferiority complex. Or I feel like I do, or I did. I don't know. But either way, it's kind of like this inner critic voice in my head that can be pretty brutal. And that's a big part of what gets in my way is of showing up and talking about what it is that I do. Because that part of me that is critical is also perfectionist and is also judgmental and wants it to look a certain way, and really wants to control other people's perception, wants to control outcomes. And that goes against what my soul knows and what my heart knows and what my ultimate truth is. And not only that, but the cost is not only emotional pain and lack of fulfillment in my life, but it also affects me financially, and it affects me professionally, because I'm not financially successful professionally because I don't get out there. And so it's just honest. I mean, honestly, it is funny. It is funny because it's ultimately complete and utter bullshit. Kind of all of it is, because there really is no such thing as superiority. That is a human concept that what I have to say and what I have to share, and that whether or not I'm worthy or good enough has nothing to do with how much of an expert I am, or how much I learn, or how much I earn, what my social status is, or my marital status is, or any of that. None of that matters. None of that actually matters. And so if I'm perceived as what my egoic personality would think is negative, if I'm perceived as a loser, if I'm perceived as an ungrounded spiritual woo-woo, if I'm perceived as a cultist, if I'm perceived as a psycho or whatever, like, it doesn't matter. Or if I become successful, if I'm perceived as evil for having money, if I'm perceived as whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And it's one thing to say that, but it's another thing to like put my money where my mouth is. It's another thing to show up and say, here's all of me. I have struggled as an entrepreneur to work with myself, for myself, with and for myself, um, for 5 years. I've been coaching since 2021. And that entire time, I've had the intention of being able to comfortably support myself financially with my work. And I have never made more than $3,000 in a year securing my own business and my own clients. And that has left me in now about $50,000 in debt, in credit cards and loans. I am right there on the verge of bankruptcy. And it's interesting because my critic and my worry about my perception that other people are going to have wants to call me really irresponsible. And I also feel like I'm also emotional because like I feel like a little bit parasitic in terms of like the support that I'm getting from people in my life, um, especially financially, because it feels like I'm just taking and I'm not giving anything back. And that feels very painful for me. And I also feel like it's an opportunity for me to understand that my worth isn't tied to what I contribute financially, and that my worth isn't tied to my productivity, and that it's not tied to my success. It's not tied to my worldly achievements. I am worthy because I am, and I'm valuable because I am, because I exist. Everyone is. You are. We all are. And so it's interesting because I don't have the desire. It's not only do I not have the desire, I would say I even do have a desire a little bit to earn money in another way. Like there's a little bit of a desire to just like throw this whole thing in the trash bin and be like, blah, I've been trying it for 5 years and I haven't been successful, so we should probably just give it up. Like there's a little bit of like, okay, when is enough enough? But actually, this time around in the last 6 months, I don't feel that. I feel like, no, it's time. It's gonna work out. Like, we're doing this. This is the only thing left to do is to remove the block. And I'm putting the block there. Not believing in myself, not believing in my worth, not trusting myself, abandoning myself, neglecting myself. This this is why I'm in the financial place that I'm in. This is why my business hasn't been successful because in many ways I haven't been taking my own medicine. I haven't been loving myself. I haven't been believing in myself. I've been operating under this inadequacy, I'm not enoughness. I've been operating under fear and doubt, like fear, doubt, and worry. So much fear, doubt, and worry that it's not going to work out. It's not going to work out. This is not going to work out. But guess what? All I've ever manifested is it not working out. So, in one perspective, it's irresponsible to keep pushing when all evidence is showing that I'm not cut out to do this. But in my heart and in my soul, I feel so close to it clicking and turning over and changing. And I think that part of that is because I've reached a level of internal mastery because over those 5 years, really for me, the last 7 years, 2019, wow, right? Like for all of us, right? Like it's been such an intense incubator of initiation and of growth, personal growth, soul growth, setting what's no longer true, coming into the realization. It's been a self-realization journey for me. And in this moment, and what has been increasingly true for the last 6, 7 months for me has been showing me that everything is different and that I am operating in a level of mastery and that my understanding has shifted and evolved to a point where I can release attachment to what's not true and to what's an illusion, to fear in many ways. And this is going to continue to be a lifelong journey. Like by no means am I done or complete in that. Like every day as a human being, it is playing in the playground of polarity of fear and love. Um, and internally, again, I'm really endeavoring and closer than I ever have been at predominantly being in a state of unity and oneness and wholeness in my own self-realization of who I am and what my truth is. And so in that, I feel like not only can I not fail, but that there really is no failure. And so it really doesn't matter. Like I'm in my unbothered phase, or at least I'm stepping into it and I'm walking in that direction. Like it doesn't matter. If I end up filing for bankruptcy, it doesn't matter. If I end up drastically shifting and have like overnight success, even though it's been 5 years in the making, like it doesn't matter because everything is experience. Everything is an experiences of of being a human being, and it's all valid. And without the experience of the pain, without the contrast, you wouldn't have knowing what the good is. You wouldn't be able to experience it because you'd just be one, right? And that's the paradox of it, is that there is nothing. There is no thing. There's just awareness. There's just consciousness. Being a human is temporal. My life is temporal. My identity is temporal. I'm the only identity of this that there ever will be, and that's special, but at the same time, it's very finite, it's very temporal, and it will be gone very fast. So whether this, path A happens or path B happens, what really matters, what really is important. And I think for me, what really is important is that I stay in that place of awe, and I stay in that place of beauty and appreciation for what it is to live a human life, and to stay in that place of trust that God, source, spirit, universe has me, has got a plan and is taking care of me and is guiding me. Because when I continue to surrender, straight unicorn magic just happens. So as I shared, I am bad up financially, bad down, bad whatever, whatever the cool kids say. Insert phrase here. And I am working for myself, endeavoring to change that through my work. And so over much of the last year, I have been traveling and house sitting so that I don't have the expense of paying rent. And the challenge with that is that for me, moving place to place is incredibly energetically taxing. And it's incredibly difficult to get into routine when my environment is constantly changing. And so one of the several months ago, it was in October, I was in the Tampa area and I was just walking and talking to God. And I was just kind of thinking, like, I was fatigued. At that point, I had been on the road for 7 months doing the house sitting, traveling from place to place to place. And I was just like saying to myself, like, it would be really nice if this is in the Tampa, Florida area, if like specifically an elderly person who was just very neutral energy, needed company and needed assistance maybe, and was lonely, because I was also lonely traveling solo around, not having a home base, not having a community, not having physical friends from place to place to place, because it's all new. I don't know anyone, and I only stay a couple of weeks on average at any place at any given time. And so not 2 weeks later, I don't remember exactly the time because it was just a thought I had, I was invited by an elderly gentleman, a Greek man, to come stay. He was the next door neighbor of the current place that I was house sitting, and he offered to take me to lunch. And he said, "Look, I have this entire upstairs apartment basically that no one is staying in, and that you can just stay in, and we can have coffee in the morning, and like, you can stay here if you want to stay here." And it's it has been, I said yes, I thought about it. And I was like, well, worst case scenario, I was like, this is a little bit strange. Like to me, I was kind of like, is that like this person doesn't know me? Like he's just seen me come and go, like house sitting next door. Like he doesn't know who I am. Um, why is he asking me this? Like, is this okay? Is there something nefarious going on? I don't know. Remember, like I have my like protection. I have my armor around my heart, you know? And so anyways, I was like, well, I'll try it. And worst case scenario, I'll just start the house. I'll just keep doing what I'm doing if there's like a funkiness going on. I effectively moved in middle of October, and it has just been utter magic ever since. Um, he's a really special, kind, generous man, and the amount of healing that I have had staying in his home is just profound. He has helped me heal my relationship with the masculine. He's helped me heal my relationship to God, to being provided for and cared for. He asks nothing of me. He, I'm astonished by how how open and willing and trusting and generous this man has been with me. And that has been so healing for me to experience and to receive, but then also to just witness, you know, how he views the world and views people and views himself, and to learn from him has been a life-changing experience. I'm so blessed. I'm beyond blessed. It's 5 minutes from the ocean. I walk and go to a park look overlooking the ocean. I see dolphins like at least once a week. It's magical. I love living there. I love living there. It's so amazing for me. 6 weeks, Thanksgiving, the week of Thanksgiving, he says, hey, my nephew is going to come down for Thanksgiving and he's going to stay um, for a week. And I was like, oh, great. I don't want to share this space with like some dude. Like, turns out he's now my boyfriend. We have been dating since, yeah, since the middle of December, when I came up here to visit him. And up here, I say up here because I'm in New York currently, because that's where he lives. And yeah, it he feels like an answer to a prayer. Both of them do. And yeah, I didn't do anything to make two of the most beautiful, incredible, amazing parts of my life that I have. I didn't do anything for. I didn't have to go get them. My boyfriend literally walked in my front door. A safe, loving home in a location that supports my well-being, an environment that supports my well-being. was just given to me. I didn't have to seek it out. I didn't have to strategize. I didn't have to create a plan and a 12-step action plan for how I was going to achieve the goal. It was given to me by the grace of God, by spirit, by the love of these humans, by whatever you want to call it. So I can look at my life through a lens of victimhood and negativity and failure and depression and focusing on what's not working. And sometimes I do. Sometimes I take that perspective. Like I said, I'm oscillating, right? Or I can look at it through the lens of, wow, wow, I am so blessed. Everything is working out for me. I really am cared for. I really am provided for. God really is my sugar daddy. Okay. Like, I don't have to work so hard. Not only like literally professionally, but like at anything. I'm so loved and so cared for and so guided and so protected. Like, I can just chill. I can relax. I am safe. This experience of being a human is a gift and it is a blessing. And it can be very, very challenging and very unspeakably painful and horrific. There's no way that we can deny that. But I'm finally starting to understand that that is love too. That that is a part of the yin yang, the darkness and the light, the pain and the love. It's one thing. They are one. It is one holistic experience. You cannot have the good without the bad. You cannot have the day without the night. You cannot have the love without the pain. And so, a soul's journey back to God, a soul's journey back to unity, I think is, the awakening that we're experiencing, I think is this remembrance that everything really is love. And love really does conquer everything because love is all there is. And that is really like, that's the good news. That's the truth. That's the ultimate reality. We are the creators. We're creating in fear, we're creating in love in any given moment. It's a spectrum, kind of. But fear really is just an illusion. There really is nothing to fear but fear itself. Mr. Pata. Anyways, I think I'm pretty much complete. If you are here and are witnessing my journey and my tangents and the way that I experience myself and from different dimensions and different lenses, and the way that I see that is being interconnected with all of you. Um, Thank you. Thank you for witnessing me. Thank you for hearing me. Thank you for sharing your attention and focus and life force energy and precious time with me. And I really, it really is such a heart's desire that my presence assists people and uplifts people and supports people and feels loving to people and feels true, feels real. And so I hope that this gives you something to reflect on, to find a deeper sense of love and beauty and truth in yourself, about yourself, your relationship to yourself, the love that you hold for yourself, and that you experience even more beauty, even more joy, even more love, even more of what your heart and soul's desires are. I love you. I'll see you next time.